Okay, so there was two awards there were two ribbons I never got. One of them was 100% deportment, and I never got any scholastic ribbons. But again, Day Dodger had its disadvantages when it came to out of uniform. Those Day Dodgers that were far enough away that could drive to school, they could throw their sweater in or a blouse or whatever. Me, I was just under that mile mark to drive, and okay, so you start off in the morning and it's shirts. It cools off. They change regulation to sweaters. Well, I don't have a sweater, so Lauderdale's out of uniform.
I got stuck
Yeah.
by my dad.
And of course, there were no excuses. I mean, well, it's not fair. You've changed it. I don't, sorry about that. Not my problem.
So, Monte, talk to me about when the school closed. What effect did that have on you, and how? You might talk about getting involved here in the museum.
It was quite a bit. I was kind of like a lot of other people. Being from Lexington, for years we'd heard, constant rumors: school's going to close, school's going to close, and there was no real different rumors until the letter came out. And that made it real. And everybody, you just ran through the whole gamut of emotions. First you had just total shock, no, that can't be true. And then you'd kind of get into that's sad. And then after it sunk in for a while, then the anger kind of set in, what the hell happened? Why did this happen? But I was, my generation, and I'm assuming hopefully the future ones do too, that start getting involved again. But you go through Wentworth, then you go on to school, then you get into careers, then you get into your families and so forth, and you kind of drift away for a while. And then in my case, as I got older, retired, I came back. And about the time I came back was when things kind of started falling apart. So when the school closed, I was kind of tinkered around helping do some odds and ends, and I just kept getting more and more involved. We started hauling stuff off campus and moving things around, and the buildings that we're in now were not really intended to be our museum. We had initially wanted where we're moving to, the old post office building, but it wasn't available. These buildings, these buildings were vacant, and we needed a place to store stuff as we got it off campus. Some things we were allowed to have, other things we got through the lawsuits, the Doughboy being our first lawsuit that started this whole thing. But as we were get things awarded to us through the courts, or just, hey, we probably can't sell this, if you want it, come get it, we didn't turn anything down. Most of it was in boxes, some of it was file cabinets. We just dumped drawers in boxes. We had these two rooms here completely just narrow aisles of boxes and display cases that were torn up. And after we got basically everything that we thought we were going to get, the stained glass windows were our final lawsuit. We call that our crown jewel. And when that lawsuit came about, the attorneys kind of made the comment that, okay, we're going to award you these windows. We had getting them out was a whole other story, but you've got to get them out, and with the stipulation, you go away. No more delays, no more injunctions, no more lawsuits. Well, those windows were basically the final thing we wanted. We figured we probably got 90-95% of everything of value that we wanted off campus. And again, my wife and I, actually we started down in the basement sorting out pictures, and boxes upon boxes of pictures, and putting them in scrapbooks. And I think we ended up roughly, we kind of did a rough count, about 80,000 pictures we've got in all red binders. And being a military school, you would think things would be very organized and documented. Nothing. Pictures, documents, nothing's dated, nothing's labeled. We tried to kind of group pictures going by, the uniforms, cars that were parked on the street, to kind of get some, we try to at least get them within the decade that they should have been. And, I just kept working on through that and various other things. And we kind of we're sitting in here one night and just kind of got looking around. And I don't know who it was who made the comment, folks, I think this may have just become our museum. And so we proceeded from that direction. We put the display cases up, got everything organized, and we did all of that in a year. The school closed, of course, in May of 17, I guess, 18. And by October of the following year, we held our grand opening here. And we had roughly about a little over 1,000 people that returned to town for that. And at that time, we just had these two buildings. We had the current museum and the Hall of Honor. The building on the other side of us was vacant. The guy had approached us about buying it. We didn't figure we had a use for it. And he finally made us a deal that we couldn't refuse. So we said, we could maybe use it for storage. Well, at first homecoming, we always have a banquet on Saturday night. And we had over 400 registrations for the banquet because we were going to hold it here. And we're going, we need more room. So we knocked a hole in the wall, put a door in here at 3 o'clock in the morning one night. We had all these class pictures we didn't know what we were going to do with. Ideal spot. We lined the walls in there with them. And the main function was held in the center room, which is the Hall of Honor. And we had closed circuit cameras in both ends of every room. So regardless of where you were sitting in any of the three rooms, you could see and hear everything that was going on. And we thought, well, never again. The fire department had cleared us for that many people, but at the time they did it, they weren't accounting for tables and chairs. And of course, we had them there along with their town dignitaries, and the county police were all standing by. And after we got done, they're going, never again. And we said, we're not going to argue with you. But one thing just kind of led to another, and I just kind of stayed involved, and more and more projects came on, and eventually I was invited to join the board, of which I gladly accepted, and I found that very rewarding. And just this past year, they had asked me if I would take over as chairman when our current chairman, George Hittner, his term will be up this October, and first I'm kind of going, why me? But I accepted the position, so starting in October, I will take over as chairman of the museum. So I've kind of come a long way in 5 years.
Yeah. So, excuse me, the post office became available, and then it was purchased.
Yes, we got word in April of last year that the person that had the post office was considering selling it. He kind of had some disagreements with Lexington, and he had, actually he bought the building, wanted to make a residence out of it. And since it was a commercial zone, they would not allow him to do that. So he just kind of let it fall apart. And a friend of mine and Jennifer's contacted us and said that, hey, I think if you want that building, you might be able to get it. And of course, both of us are also involved in the Lexington Historical Association, and our initial thought was possibly for them. Well, we looked at it and we're going, no, there's no way, it's just too much work. And we kept talking, and the more we're going, why don't we buy it? So we made an agreement with the guy, and we purchased the building. And at the same time, the lot behind it, we found out who owned that. And it was kind of one of these things that had been passed down through generations, and it was, I think, 3 siblings involved in that. 2 of them jumped at the chance to sell it, 1 of them didn't. But we battled it back and forth for a while, and we finally were able to close the deal on both the post office property and the lot behind it. So work started. The school board, the post office moved out of there, I believe, in '65. And they basically gave the building to the school board. So the superintendent's office and the school board, that was their office area. They had come in and put drop ceilings throughout the whole thing and made a mess out of it. And it's a beautiful old building. It was started construction in 1910 and completed in 1912. And at that time, it was pretty much state of the art for post offices. We had done some research on it, and apparently there's a 10-year span there from about 1910 to 1920 that the Postmaster General was very good friends with this architect. And throughout the country during that period, they designed some of these very elaborate post offices. And Lexington was fortunate enough to get one of them. But it's all elaborate woodwork, 30-foot ceilings, marble floors. And I mean, it's a beautiful building. And our goal is not only to put our museum down there, but at the same time, we're trying to restore it back to or maintain as much of the historic value of it as it was when it was built. And we've got all the woodwork stripped and restained. The ceilings are all opened up now. It's all painted. We're putting the Wentworth Memorial Park is going to be in the back of it. And that's going to be a show spot for Lexington. It definitely will. People will be looking forward to seeing that. It's going to have a brick pillar and low wall all the way around it with wrought iron in between. Each wrought iron spindle is going to have a little gold dragon that sits on top of it. When you walk into the entrance, there's basically a lot of personalized stonework. There will be a bell tower there. We did get the original bell off of the campus out of the chapel, which was the original bell that rang back in 1880 when Wentworth was first founded. It actually sat on a wooden stand, and we currently have it now on a replica of that stand in the basement, but we'll move it out of there and actually mount the bell in that bell tower. And you'll wander through that. There'll be a sleeping dragon laying there when you come out, and the back of it will have a retaining wall, and we acquired all of the class granite stones off of campus, and all of those will be embedded in that wall. There's an old garage back there that we call the bunker. It's kind of a concrete little block thing. It's going to be all fixed up and bricked, and it's going to be kind of like a speakeasy. It's going to be kind of like the little Wentworth Old Boy Bar that we'll have in there. So it's going to be quite a show place when we get it done, and our goal is to have everything done and have the grand opening in October of this year. For homecoming this year, we hope to dedicate that building.
Very aggressive.
It's work. But, we did this one in a year, so the move on this one will be a lot simpler because everything's already sorted. It's just a matter of we take this display and move it, take this display and move it. We don't have to set everything up again. So
I assume this will be closed for a month?
we're going to close this. We're going to keep this one open up until the 1st of September. The 1st of September, we will shut this down for the entire month of September, and we'll start moving everything down. And I'm not going to say it's like a top secret move, but we're going to probably keep that building pretty restricted because we don't want a lot of sneak previews. We don't want pictures taken and things posted out there on the wonderful Facebook and so forth, but hopefully, I won't say hopefully, basically it will happen by October 1st. Everything in here will be moved down there.
Okay. So why is it important to have a museum?
This is basically Wentworth now, the museum is. We don't have a campus anymore, but all of our stuff is here. We may have lost the brick and mortar, but we still have all of our stuff, so we still have the memories. And it's a place you can come and still feel like you're at Wentworth. We have a complete replica of a cadet room in the museum. And it's down to about every detail, even down to the tile on the floor. Needless to say, we couldn't get the tile up, but we found a sample that matched it almost exactly. And the desk, the chairs, the closets, everything that are in there came out of a room on campus. And there are guys that come in here, especially some of your lifers that have, grew up at Wentworth. They were there 5, 6, 7 years. They walk in that room and it gets a little teary-eyed sometimes.
So that leads us to, you're here when a lot of these old guys come in, or friends, or relatives. generalize what they feel, especially the old boys. Do you hear? Here's what I hear when I talk to old boys.
Uh-huh.
It's the place saved my life.
We hear that all the time. Yeah, I mean, my story's not unique. You know, there's a lot of individuals over there that same way I am. You know, where would I have been? How would my career have turned out? My life path had I not gone to Wentworth? And that's probably the story you hear the most is how much it helped people. And as I said earlier, it kind of goes back to you got out of Wentworth what you wanted to put into it. And if you wanted to get something out of it, it could be a lifesaver. And I think for probably quite a few people, it maybe was.
Yes. Now, while we're on camera, you're on camera. Do you want to say hi to Ruthie?
Hi, Ruthie. How the dogs doing? We
Make it official.
I'm an avid hunter, and I love dogs, and I'm into labs. And I've bred labs, I've trained labs. I was an AKC judge for a while for hunt tests, and currently have 6 of the, I won't say little boogers, I've got about 400 and some odd pounds of dog in my house, but they're our kids, they're our family. And I've got 3 generations of them, so. I had mom, my oldest lab passed away here a few years ago. He had cancer, but I still got grandma, and I got 2 of their kids, which had 3 more of their grandkids. So
I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Because people will see this, and you know there's people out there that went to Wentworth that have never come back, or have artifacts, personal or Wentworth stuff. You want to talk to them and say, hey, we're here.
Absolutely. We're getting more and more things right now of people that are getting my age, you know, that generation. They're downsizing. They're going into smaller homes, or in some cases, unfortunately, passing away. And their heirs have found all this stuff from Wentworth, and they're bringing it. And we take anything they want to bring. A lot of it is valuable. Some of it's just memorable. But it got off to a slow start. You know, when the museum got going, a lot of people were skeptical. You know, no, this can't make it. This, you know, just a waste of money. But, you know, we're 5 years in now and growing strong, financially stronger. Our numbers are growing stronger. So I think people are realizing that, hey, it's real. You know, it's here to stay. And we are seeing more and more things being dropped off. We just had, it was Norma Maring. They just recently cleaned out her house and put it on the market. And, I wouldn't even want to guess the number of boxes of, you know, old yearbooks, trumpeters, and just the list is kind of endless of we're still spending time just going, oh, look at this. Oh, I didn't see that a while ago. Oh, wow, look at this one. So, you know, we get a lot of interesting things. And some of the older things, you know, we've never seen before. You know, it goes back, you know, for so long that they're brand new to us.
Well, I'm pretty much done with questions.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you would like to say, you know, about your experience,
Oh, well, as far as this museum, I think one of the things in this museum that really got me the most was those windows. Of course, not physically capable to have really gotten them out, but of course I was here when they came out, over there getting them up here, and then I was here on the Saturday that we stood them up. And we've got a custom light specialist that's an old boy from San Antonio, Texas, Tom Kelly. He came up here to light them. There's 3 windows behind that, but the natural light coming through did not do them justice. We had shadows and they didn't look right. He spent probably better than a week with various backdrops and lighting, and he finally got it down. And he called my wife and Sue about 9 o'clock one night, and he said, I'm ready to light these. So we came down. He had 4 chairs sitting there in front of those windows, completely dark in here, and he flipped that light, and it put a little lump in my throat. Because I'm sitting here going, you know, for 4 years, I sat underneath those windows. I knew there were stained glass windows there. knew the story on them, it basically meant nothing until I'm sitting there looking at them. And that has the effect on a lot of people when they come in here. Those windows in that cadet room are probably the biggest impact on people that come in here. And then, of course, all the pictures on the other room on the wall. Everybody likes to see their picture.
Yeah, no, that's 7 years I
Yeah.
sat under those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. I appreciate you taking time.
Okay.
I know it's kind of a quick Zoom, and we hope Rick Cottrell is okay.
Rick is, he's got some problems. He's addressing them, but right now they're thinking he's maybe got a little heart blockage that it's fixable. So he just got to take care of himself.
Well, hopefully we can get him eventually.
Yeah.
For that very reason.
Yeah, he's kind of sorry he couldn't made it today, but he just wasn't able to, just didn't feel up to it. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Yeah. See, that wasn't